Cap. Cap. Yo, guys, I'm back. I'm back live again. Let's go. Talking to producers right now. Finally figured out how to. Finally figured out how to be on screen while. Finally figured out how to be on screen while you know, while I use my computer. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Now, next step, y'all already know the next step. No, the next step is gonna be streaming. What do you call it? Streaming. Streaming FIFA. Yep. That's what the next step is gonna be. But yeah, this is just watch me declutter right now. See, I gotta get this number closer to this number. So yeah, we're gonna delete a lot of shit. You're gonna be deleting a whole lot of stuff. Yeah. What the hell is this? This is one video, man. Wow. See, this is what I hate. They save the video, and the video is bigger than the entire application. That's just one video, bro. One video. Come on, delete. Yes, delete. I don't need that. What kind of bullshit is that? Our producers right now. I got too much bullshit, man. I just be having, I don't even know what this is. Just be having a bunch of, I like that video, but it's out already, so. What the hell is this? Man, look. Shout out Eshawn, man. Eshawn put me on to Ecamm Live. Put me on to Ecamm Live. I'm trying to share all the links. I just saw the Draymond Green show dropped. Draymond Green show dropped. Yep. Josh the Rapper live right now. Gotta share it everywhere. Man, I'm getting used to this. I'm getting used to this little going live shit. I ain't gonna lie. I can get used to this. It's pretty dope. See beats. What do I need? What don't I need? I don't need Peter Piper. Delete. Oh, gotta go check the food. Where is my mic? Yo. I can get used to this going live shit. I ain't gonna lie. It's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. Figure that. It's pretty dope. Figure that. Gotta make space. It's pretty dope. Yo, I need to. Yo, I need to. This producers right now. Finally figured out this producers right now. Finally figured out. Man, I totally forgot, bro. But guess what? I haven't subscribed yet, so I could still, use your link, and you know, I can still use your link and get it when I subscribe. But I'm still on a free trial. According to the what do you call it? The freaking watermark. They're not gonna let me go with the watermark. I don't like these files. Are just the only thing I have on this computer are beats. I mean, maybe beats and like vocals and maybe some videos, but like I don't need any of this stuff, man. I don't even know what they are. Like what? Now we just gotta figure out how to get a capture card. Once we get a capture card, we can stream FIFA all fucking day. All fucking day. Now we just gotta figure out how to get a capture card. Man. Once we get a capture card, we can stream FIFA all fucking day. All fucking day. Now we just gotta figure out how to get a capture card. I said this beat. This beat is like I need to write to that. Got a teriyaki template. Man, y'all can see my whole life, right? Man, you gotta go to desktop, man. Desktop is where it's at. I need to delete all this shit from desktop. Okay, got a tracks file. Let me get this beat. This goes. Clip gone. 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 How can it? Which screenshot be that? Man, you can't skip over files. Gone. I guess, yeah. Everything gone. Move to Trinash. Man, you can't skip over files. I guess, yeah. Everything gone. Man, this is gonna be a whole process. Empty. I don't need none of this no more. Need more space. Man, that's Sean, my boy, man. That's my guy. Need more space. Bro, I want to stream FIFA, man. That's what I'm trying to do, bro. I don't know if I need. I'm trying to do it without a capture card, but you know, I'm trying to. Man, that's the next step. Yo, when is the Nuggets OKC game? That's what I want to stream. Yo, you think they're gonna kick me off of what I need to do if I stream the Nuggets OKC game? If I actually stream the Nuggets OKC game, man, I'm scared to open my. I'm scared to. Is it? Oh, there's tomorrow. Okay, yeah, I'll stream the game tomorrow for sure. I'll stream the game tomorrow. I'll stream the game tomorrow. I'm not. I'm not going. I thought it was today. But yeah, I'll stream the game tomorrow for sure. Now I just gotta figure out how to record my PS5, screen or whatever. Yeah. I mean, y'all can watch me watch YouTube, to be honest. I ain't gonna lie. Go to YouTube. Man, y'all about to see. Y'all about to see everything. Yo. Why is this thing so slow, man? Why is this thing so slow? My screen is so slow right now. Oh yeah, this is what I want to stream. Yup.
What's up, my guy? Damn, damn. You had a good run, man.
It's off season.
Welcome to the off season.
My
We get
mom
to hang.
texted me after
We
the game.
we get to hang out more.
But my mom texted me after the game. I still ain't text her back, and I know she think I'm mad. I actually thought it was hilarious. Well, I hope you went to you got your fishing stuff out of storage. It's time for you to go fishing. And then she sent me this. It's emotional.
Come on,
Oh man.
come on, man. Let's go
Off-season.
fishing.
The off season, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta give a shout out to the Minnesota Timberwolves.
You ain't got to give them no shout out.
I just shout out to the city of
They
Minnesota.
shouted out enough. They won. Like, they don't need no shout out. They doing it. We need a shout out. We down.
Well, first I want
Oh
to
yeah,
give a shout out.
this is number
to the
one
Warriors.
podcast in the NBA
They
right
don't
now.
need no
Season,
shout
man.
out. They still compete for a championship. I want to shout them out. They still going.
Yeah.
They don't need no shout out yet.
They be my dogs. They be
They
my
did.
dogs.
They don't need
I had
no
do-
shout out.
I
It's
had
their
dogs in
house.
the fight. I had dogs in the fight. They proved me wrong, man. They
Oh,
proved me
man.
wrong. Man, it's just,
Man.
it was
They-
interesting series. Minnesota is sneaky because they got size, they got speed, they got offensive talent. They got a lot of dudes that can do a lot of different things, and they can play different styles.
Yo,
I think seeing Minnesota playing against the Lakers, LeBron, Luca, Lakers are small. They bullied them up. Then came back with you guys. And, game one was different. Steph goes out. You guys are still small. And so they have every advantage. They play big, small ball, which is interesting in this type of NBA because now, you're looking at 6'8", 6'9", 6'8", 6'7", and then maybe if Conley's out there, 6 feet. And so I think in this series, it was just a matter of speed. They were quicker. They were quicker to the ball. They just have more weapons. When you're playing against a team like this, it's hard to focus on one particular thing when they have so many different players that can beat you. And it wasn't just Anthony Edwards. It's never just been all Anthony Edwards. It's been Julius Randle. It's been McDaniels. It's been Mike Conley. Nas Reed, Rudy Gobert, them interchanging in and out the game. That fuck a lot of teams up.
Mm-hmm.
You fought. You had a couple games. If you would have made the games murky, if you would have made the games under 100, I think, or tried to be under 100, under 105, slow the pace down, then it would have worked in your favor. But at the end of the day, they just wore y'all down. And then without having Steph Curry, it was tough because they have the physical presence and athletic talent to match up well against pretty much any team in the West. The way I'm looking at Minnesota, this is my first time really, really, really seeing them.
When I look at this series, it reminds me a lot of the Toronto series. And what I mean by that is matchups are extremely important, offensively and defensively.
Mm-hmm.
The matchups are extremely important to the outcome of that game. Like there's some series that you can lose a guy, you can be without a guy, you can win still and like be fine based up on the matchup. With those teams, when we lost to Toronto, it's like one injury changes all of the matchups. So say for instance, Jaden McDaniels will be glued to Steph Curry the entire series, no question, right? Like that will be their guy who they go to for for Steph. If Jaden McDaniels is struggling or in foul trouble, the next guy they'd actually probably go to would be Ant, who I think they'd put on Steph, right? Like if he gets some foul trouble, chase Steph around. All right, so then what that does to the rest of the matchups is vitally important to how these games play out. Now, with no Steph, and Jaden McDaniels don't have to chase Steph around, now Jaden McDaniels is on me, or Jimmy, or there's times where Ant was on me, right? They're moving pieces around that you can't necessarily move around. So, for instance, when we played Toronto, and why this series reminded me so much of that, Toronto had all of those same things. They had point guard play, they had great wing play, they had good wing play off the bench. Norman Powell coming off the bench. OG Anunoby coming off the bench, right? They had a really good power forward playing at an elite level in Pascal Siakam. Minnesota has a really good power forward playing at an elite level in Julius Randle, right? But some games, it was Marc Gasol that hurt us, right? Rudy Gobert, obviously not the same style game. I'm just saying,
right? But it's just a position,
just position. But some games, Serge Ibaka hurt us. Nas Reed, you see what I'm saying? So that's why the series reminded me so much of that. From a matchup perspective, it ends up then changing all of the matchups. It changes the lineup. So whereas you may go a certain lineup to cover this, you don't necessarily go that lineup because you're missing such a big piece. And so, like when I get in these series, I've been through so many of them that you can always immediately
shout out my
oh,
sister,
this is
man.
that.
Maria,
and what I mean by that is like
you can draw from your file cabinet.
Exactly.
Chicken,
this Houston series
whatever.
is
Tikka masala.
Memphis 2015 all over again, right? Like, so you go back to like all of these series like this. and the Toronto series is what this Minnesota series was to me. And saying that, um, man, really, really good ball club. When I take a step back and obviously remove myself from just playing in the series and just look at the series from
Now
a
you guys can hear me
basketball
chew.
fan perspective or a basketball analysis perspective, what I love most is it wasn't all Ant. Like it wasn't like Ant just had to dominate the ball or dominate the game. Like he had his imprint on every game. But it wasn't just like Ant big scoring nights, Ant go for 45 and they win. Like it was kind of all over the place. Julius played great. Julius is incredible. Another reason why I said this series is like Toronto to me is because for this reason. I've been through, I think that was my 34th playoff series. I could be off by one or two, give or take each way. Could be 36. I don't know. Something of that nature. Call it, for the sake of doing numbers, call it my 33rd playoff series. The only other playoff series where I felt like I lost my matchup like that, I didn't completely dominate my matchup, take over my matchup. The only other series really in my career where I feel like I lost my matchup was Toronto. I felt like I lost my matchup to Pascal Siakam. Game 1, he crushed me. Game 2, I stifled him. Like maybe game 4, game 3, he was on. Game 4, I had a better game. But I felt like I lost my matchup in that series. And this series also reminds me of that series because it's also a series where I don't feel like I lost my matchup. I lost my matchup. Like Julius was incredible. And he played great basketball. And
He
honestly,
did.
like some of the shots he was taking was shots that you want him to take, and he made them. You know what I'm saying? And like he made the shots. Like
I
at the
love
end of the
Draymond, man.
day, the
Always
game
honest.
oftentimes come down to shot
I
making,
don't like
and
the
he
Warriors,
made the shots.
but I like Draymond
And
and
so,
Steph.
gotta give Drew a lot of
Especially
credit, man.
Draymond.
I've been
He
playing
can
against
talk.
Julius. I remember going back
You
to
know?
the first
He's like
preseason game
super
of playing
smart.
against him in San Diego, California. We was playing in this game, and like the court, like I think we ended up stopping the game like right after halftime or something because the court was slippery. If I'm not mistaken, it's the same game that if you remember the clip, Kobe's picking up Steph full court, and Steph hit the three and tap
Yeah.
him, and either Steph tapped him or he tapped Steph or something like that. But if I'm not mistaken, it was that same game. That was my first time ever playing against Drew. And at that time, Drew had this move where he come down, he got the ball in his right hand, he throw the ball to his right hand, his left hand, and he stutter step. And I had never really faced a guy like that yet in the league. He was young coming in. So I struggled guarding that move. So when we played them the next preseason game, I watched a ton of clips, that move. And I'm like, oh, I know what I need to do to that move now. And we played them next preseason game, and I shut the move down. We've been kind of having these little battles since Drew came into the league. And obviously this is the first one on the playoff level, but I got to give it to him, man. He got the better of
He
me.
got to.
He got the better of me. And with all respect, you know, I'm never a guy who's going to hide from the truth. He was a tough cover, one of the tougher covers I've had in the playoff series. And it was very interesting because it did not feel like that series was as physical as the Houston series.
No, it was more physical. It just wasn't all the bullshit shenanigans. Like they got a greater level of respect for y'all.
Fact.
Even when Steph went out, right?
Mhm.
That like I will say this: you have to watch Minnesota play in order to appreciate. You said something about Ant. Ant gets his money,
Yeah.
and he gets his money with everybody else getting their money too. And I didn't know that. They can beat you in so many different ways. And not only, like, the three is not they live or die. Because Ant go to the hole, McDaniel go to the hole, Nas Reed go to the hole. You know, Kylie still can penetrate, you know, pull up, run, pick and roll. So they got a couple different styles. And then adding Julius Randle, who's my boy, that's my young dog. Great offense, beat great defense all the time.
I
right?
disagree, but it did that time.
All the time. Great, like it
Not
do.
all the
If
time.
you play the
That is
greatest,
a
you
cliche saying that I disagree
dog,
with,
you
but it
gotta,
definitely did this time.
man. I as a defender, there's been times where I've played I played the best defensive possession on Allen Iverson, and he made the shot.
No, yeah, that's great, but then there's times where you played the best defensive possession and shut guys down. So I just disagree with the statement. It's a very cliche statement that I understand what people are saying, but I disagree with. But this time, no question. No question. It
But
did.
yeah, and you know, a lot of those shots is his talent. And Minnesota, when I see Ed and I see Julius play like that, and I see what McGayle can do with a little bit of freedom, what he did in the Lakers series coming off of that. And you got DiVincenzo, who's a dog, right? You got Nas Reed, who's a matchup problem, right? Because he moves like a guard. And so it's just a lot of, and then Rudy Gobert. If you get 2, 3 good games out of Rudy Gobert where he got a double double, then it's like, God damn, they're hard to stop. But I thought y'all play hard. I thought y'all gave it y'all. I do think that I don't know if y'all was expecting another version of the Houston series, but like they went into none of the bullshit. They just was
Facts.
hooping.
It was
And
just
so
hard
that,
basketball,
yes, they
tough
played
basketball.
super hard. They played
Exactly.
y'all tough. It
Exactly.
wasn't no bullying. We ain't gonna be staring them down. We gonna it's hit or be hit, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I think as a whole, you guys weren't prepared for that because they just hit a little bit harder than Houston. And
Mm-hmm.
they got on with their business, right? Where Houston, man, hit you, could have been tricky, murk up the game, and now it's a thing. They was just, oh my bad.
I'm
And
gonna
that's
tell
hard.
you this though,
That's
BG. They're
hard to
more
deal with.
like they were physical for sure,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you in playing in the game, that game wasn't as physical as Houston. It wasn't as physical because that's what Houston has to do in order to stay in the game. Like
Right.
that's
Right.
and so when I tell you it wasn't as physical, I'm telling you, of course, I've been in a million of these things, as you know, it was not as physical. It was a level of physicality, obviously, a high level of playoff physicality.
I never got to tell you how that shit made me feel because of who you are and how your humor and like how you are as a person. Nigga, I dead ass for the first time. And my bad I didn't get to like talk about it with you, but like felt secondhand embarrassed, like felt embarrassed. If y'all see that clip, like at one point I told her to chill because like bro, there was like a lot of going on. But you know, Zoe is like very, you know, she's very outgoing, she's very positive. That's her shit. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not even gonna put that past her. But right there, something felt off. But like I didn't put that past her. I'm like, okay. Then it's none of my business. It's none of my business. This is how I'm looking at it, right? It's none of my business. Something happened with Zoe and the bros. That shit happened. That behind the scenes, that was some type of weird shit going on. That's never been on the internet. None of that. And there's no reason for me to talk because you feel what I'm saying. That's their business. And I'm not gonna speak on that. A few months ago. So now, Zoe, last time I seen Zoe was in September. Anything that I seen with Zoe was clips online. I need y'all to really do y'all research on a lot of shit. The shit that Zoe would say online, I would think she don't even fuck with me. I'm telling you, gang. I'm gonna show an example. I'm gonna show an example. When I see shit like this, yeah, y'all ain't never gonna see me with Kai again, boy. And then they ain't on no beat. When I see shit like this, yeah, y'all ain't never gonna see me with Kai again, boy. And then they ain't on no beef shit, and they ain't on no funny shit. Y'all just ain't. get it though. We all get it though. I'm not being messy. It's funny. Damn. Damn, I miss you. I'm not even saying nothing wrong. You're in a relationship. It's okay. That's why I'm saying y'all ain't never gonna see me again. That's all I'm saying. It's nothing funny. It's funny. What's wrong with that is, why would you automatically assume that you would never be on my stream again because of me being in a relationship? It makes no sense. Y'all talk about shit you trolling. Let me put y'all on more game. The trolling, the slick shit. I've dealt with that with so many people within this shit.
Yo,
Listen,
Cat,
everybody
I'm
that
watching
watch me,
stuff on my phone.
people will
Don't
say
mind me.
something and be like, I'm trolling.
I'm watching this stuff on
I be minding my business.
Streamer University in Kaya and
And I
Zoe or
really
whatever.
be pissed.
Yo, I got the white on today. Yeah, white on white.
For sure. But the skill level was so much higher than Houston that the game was never even allowed to get to that level of physicality
Bingo.
because it's moving. So it's like it's more this than playing a drum. Like if you want to equate it to a musical instrument, Houston's like beating a drum, whereas this is like on the piano. This is, like on the guitar. This was like fine, high level, high skill movement with obviously playoff physicality for sure. You're in playoff series, but it couldn't even reach that level of physicality because it's too much motion. You know what I'm saying? It's too
Right.
much
Exactly.
and so that's kind of my takeaway from it. It's not like, yeah, they were physical for sure. Like it's a level of playoff physicality that is going to be met anyway. But it was so much higher level skill that I don't even think the game could reach that level because you can't even chuck somebody or grab somebody because the game is moving
They're
at such a
moving, yeah.
different tune,
That's what I
and
meant.
so
Yeah.
that was kind of my takeaway. I think something I noticed defensively with them too is like, and obviously with Steph on the floor, defensive game plans can change, but I felt like they did a good job of moving Rudy Gobert around and taking advantage of his strengths. So oftentimes you get in these playoff series, and this could be Finch. So they had a year with Rudy last year, right? So you get an opportunity to go through it. Then you see it, you get an opportunity to study it over the course of the summer, see what you can do. And obviously last year when they were in the Western Conference Finals, I did the games with TNT. And so I saw all the games. I saw how Dallas was able to exploit Rudy Gobert. And in playing them this year, I felt like they did a really good job of putting Rudy Gobert in positions to take advantage of his strengths. Because it does fall upon coaching where, for instance, if Steph Curry is a knockdown three-point shooter but can't get to the hole, right, like he does, I'm just saying hypothetically. If he's the three-point shooter that he is, but he cannot get to the hole, so if they take the three away, he's done. Well, guess what that coach's job is to do? You better find a way to get him some threes up because that's your job. That's what he specializes in, right? For some reason, defensively, it's never viewed that way. And so Rudy Gobert clearly has a toolkit of strengths in his defensive repertoire. And it is the opposing coach's job to put him in positions to be unsuccessful, to put him in positions to make him uncomfortable, right? That is the opposing coach's job. Well, guess what his coach's job is? Continue to find ways to put him in positions to use his strengths to be successful. Yeah. And I thought they did an incredible job this series of putting him in the positions to be successful, shifting their defenses around, like shifting schemes mid-play to kind of drop him to the paint. Like I thought they did a really good job of that this series. And there were some plays where we drove to the hole and Rudy Gobert didn't even step over to help, which I knew in their series, and that's their game plan. Their game plan was to press out and take the three out of the game. Obviously, as a big man, your tendency for a big like that is you see the ball go to the rim, you funnel
You
in,
gonna
and
go,
that's how
yeah.
you could take advantage of Rudy at times because he funnel in, you hit the three, toast. Did an incredible job, man, of not funneling in, sticking to the game plan. They put him in positions to play to his strengths. So I thought that was really good. I think as they move forward in this next series, whether that's Denver or OKC, that will be vital again because the reality is, can they go Nas Reed and Julius Randle? Yes. Could that possibly win them a series? Yes. But when you got all three of them working and you can go to what Rudy brings, because he brings a totally different thing from those two guys. So when you can have that strength of yours working as well, it makes them a much dangerous team. And I think they had all three of them working against us, which made them a much more dangerous team than they would be if they just got two of them working. So I thought that was something that I noticed in playing, but also watching the films. It's like, man, they did a much better job of putting Rudy in positions defensively to where he can take advantage of his strengths and not just be exposed and where he may have some weaknesses as everyone does.
They had time to watch that series against Houston.
Go back a little
And like I was saying, I think
back,
what
Jack.
they caught on to
I'm back.
was when you guys penetrate, you don't penetrate to score. And so that's why they stayed home. They were like, yo, we don't want the Warriors to shoot a high volume of threes, whether Steph is on the floor or not. We want them to drive. And a lot of times I call it purgatory. You get stuck in purgatory where it's like, oh, I got the ball. Damn, I don't have a three. Nobody is else open. I'm in the middle of the court, right, with a step or a move to the basket, but I'm looking out. I'm looking for, my spots. And when Rudy didn't challenge at the basket and they were able to stay home, especially when how he was rotating them in and out, rotating them in with Looney, rotating them out, putting Nas Reed, kind of confusing, I would say, the offense and the defense. But I think they did a good job of taking away the three and making you guys make twos. You guys did a good job. I want to say it was game 3. I thought that game was had because you murkied the game. You went to the hole. You got steals. You wasn't looking for the three. You was taking the three when it was opportune time. But like, I think this era of basketball, like it's like crazy, bro. Like you can get to the front of the rim and like nobody's there. And then if Rudy Gobert is there, like no disrespect to him or big dudes, like I don't know, in our era, we kind of like getting to the whole challenging the big dude. I don't see that as much in this era. But I thought game 3 was probably our best game. Yeah, I had to win. Game 2, I don't know what the fuck was happening. It's on game 2, but
Game 2, I felt like we went into game 2 and we didn't think we could win. Like that
all.
was the feeling. That
At
was
all.
the feeling that I had on the court. It was like game 2, we didn't feel like we can win. Game
at
3,
all.
we could have won, we should have won, and I played fucking awful. I was terrible.
Your last
was
5
awful.
minutes was, oh gosh. I was
I
sitting
played
at the
awful.
house yelling.
I never found the rhythm of the game. I played terrible. So
See how like
that's why we
they're
lost game
talking
3.
to each
and
other.
thought that's
I need a
game
co-host like that, man.
we could have won. But I
Like
played
these
terrible.
guys are
In
candid.
a situation
don't-
like that,
They don't
Right.
pull punches. Like
You're
they're
never
actually
gonna
talking
get
to
the
each other.
benefit of
You
the
feel
doubt.
me?
For sure.
so the little fouls and shit like that kind of really hurt because, on the dunk, you didn't even foul him, but they gonna
Yeah,
foul
I
him.
didn't. I didn't foul. It was interesting though. I got fined for that.
And then you don't get the challenge, so you lose a timeout.
Mm-hmm.
So then and then they called the offensive foul on you with the Kaminga thing, which I think the replay shit is stupid as hell. They can call a foul before, like, man, you're supposed to be judging, was it a foul on Kaminga?
Exactly.
Not who grabs somebody. That's the whole That's the whole point of sports.
Exactly.
You got to be able to
Finding
get
little
away
nuances,
with
right?
little shit.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Bro, I
It's
used to
stupid.
shoot jumpers, and Earl Watson used to always
gonna
do
be-
this. After I shoot, you would always do like just, and Shane Battier would do this to Cole, put his
Yeah.
hand right there, like, man, we gonna go to the replay, right, and we gonna penalize the person who tripped Shane Battier, so he got right here, and you know what I mean? They looking at
No,
the
I
whole
agree.
play. I thought that hurt, but man, I think game
Oh,
2,
guys.
y'all didn't think that y'all could win or think that y'all could compete. Game 3, it was like, oh shit, it's still
I'm still
1-1.
live,
We
but
can actually compete. And then I think it was just
definitely
more, I don't know if it
gotta
was
play FIFA though.
fatigue or just not having that to get over
Damn,
the
I'm always
hump.
playing FIFA now.
And then
Is
from
that a
there,
bad
it
thing?
was just like, all right,
Uphill
like,
battle from that point.
we're going to fight, but this
Yeah, we're
series,
gonna fight and swing,
yeah,
but
we're going to
we
fight and
ain't
swing.
quitting, but
Yeah,
you're
but these
uphill
dudes
battle
can
at
fight
that point.
too. Yeah,
Yeah,
these
like
got
they
the-
ain't. It ain't just like we're gonna fight and we're gonna win because they don't fight. Like, nah, they still good and they fight. So that's kind of what it boiled down to.
y'all gonna wear it out because now it's like you fighting and you like, damn man, where our knockout puncher at? It's like, damn, he's still over there sitting. It's like if we could have stole another one, and people was asking me about Steph, the injury. Like somebody was like, man, wouldn't you just play? If you had, like, of course he would play if he could play. But if you can't play in the playoffs, you can't play. It ain't nothing you can do. And coming back, you got to be all the way right because you're literally a half, a quarter. Like I remember I pulled my hamstring in the Dallas series, and if it wasn't for just the momentum, like my hamstring was torn.
You gotta give him a.
I was just like,
How is that a
we
yellow?
gonna ride it till the wheels fall off, right? But in Steph's situation is different. He can't play. He can't move. So there's no reason to get out there. And now you're looking at your big puncher, your knockout puncher, like, damn, dude. All right, we're gonna keep boxing and squabbing with these dudes, but like, damn, if we had our knockout guy over here, it'd be a different story. And so when you playing like that, you really just,
See,
like you said,
you
uphill
just
battle
you
playing
ain't-
to
you mean you
survive.
won't play like just
But
quit.
yeah, man, we've seen Steph play through a million injuries, hamstrings, quads, calves, muscles. If he could have gave us 60%, I say no. If he could have gave us 70%, I still say no. That's not the answer. So, moving on.
The NBA 82-game grind is done. Now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs. Love them. They're here. Time for drama, clutch moments, Steph Curry, LeBron, jaw-dropping plays. I can't wait. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. They're the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Playing games all the way to the finals. Now's the time to back your favorite players and teams as they chase glory. So all season long, DraftKings has been the go-to spot for NBA player props. That doesn't stop now. If you want to make your playoff experience even more intense, try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will they drop 30, 40, who knows, or more? It's your call. If you're ready to place your first bet, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Takes 90 seconds. Lock in your bets, and let's make the playoffs unforgettable. Here's something special for first-timers. DraftKings customers that are new, bet $5, that's it, $5, and get 200 in bonus bets instantly. Just make it a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download their Sportsbook app. Takes 90 seconds. The code's Colin, C-O-L-I-N. That is code Colin. New customers get $200 in bonus bets, betting just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours.
It was great to, bounce back this year throughout the course of the year and not see a whole year just go by the wayside.
Real
Actually,
talk.
give ourselves a chance.
But y'all had a chance to win it too.
Absolutely.
Y'all had a strong chance. Y'all had a strong belief, and man, the way y'all bounced back and put your name in the hat. You put your name back on the board outside of like, damn, we about to be mediocre and be, mid. You're not mid no more.
Fact.
You back to being a league. Yeah.
And I think we got a chance now where you like, all right, so one of the toughest things is, to do in this league is like, it's hard to fill the top of a roster, meaning you got Steph. To then plug a Jimmy Butler in, like that's a very hard thing to do in the NBA, where how people work, where how franchises work.
Yo,
It's a very tough thing to do. I think we've done the tough
tougher
part
and
now.
tougher
Like we
opponents.
added a
Let's
Jimmy
go,
Butler.
though.
So now you can now look at your roster and say, okay, we want to improve here. We want to add this thing because we now know, okay, this is the style of that game that Jimmy plays. We need to add X, right? Like now you're accounting for different things and you're able to really build this team the way it should be built. And so that to me headed into the offseason is the exciting part, of where it's like, yo, we got a chance to fine tune this thing and put it together and give it another go or two or three, And so
Yeah.
I think we all can still compete at that level. We've shown that. We know that regardless of what people may feel was shown, we know we can still compete at that level, which is huge. Moving forward to the on to the off season, I think we move forward in a much better position this year than we were in last year. So I'm excited about that. Obviously, this league is very unforgiving. Got to survive the off season, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. Off season gonna be tough, but I think for getting Jimmy mid-season, well, you told me mid-season was not the All-Star game. Didn't you
It's
say
not.
that? Yes, okay. So, like, getting him towards the tail end of the season and working that chemistry, but also I think it was a learning and discovery thing for Steve Kerr as well, because you had Jonathan Kuminga, I like to say, like, you had a competitive team, and young talent was emerging. Now you look at, Kuminga's playing the playoffs in Houston, also in the Minnesota series. The young guys being able to, with Steph not being able to close out that last series, with the young guys being able to assume all those minutes, it's going to breed a lot of maturity for them, right? Talking about the Warriors' future, looking at next season, like, what do you think is going to be the focus?
Most importantly, going into the summer that you got to improve. Can't come back looking the exact same. You going into the summer, you got to improve. So that's number one. And I think everyone will have that mindset. I think as far as the young guys go, when you get those opportunities, that can be a gift and a curse, right? Like you can get those opportunities sometimes before you may be ready for it, but I think we all believe as NBA players that we're always ready for it, right? The delusion in our minds as athletes, which is what allows us to make it to this point, because you have to have some sort of delusion in your mind and believing that you're one of the 300 or 400 best players in the world to play in this league. You have to have a little delusion in your mind to believe that. So we all have that thing. In this league, young guys will come in, including all of us that came in, and think you're ready for something before you are. That can be a gift and a curse in this league, because you could have the potential to do something and not quite be ready in that moment, but you will then be judged off the moment as opposed to the potential. As opposed to if people never see you do it, then they'll just continue to
guys,
say
I'm playing FIFA
it's
right
potential.
now. So,
But the
if you
potential
see
could still
expressions,
be there,
just know that.
even if you struggle in that moment. So, for
just,
instance, I think Brandon
I
Brzezowski struggled a
wish you
bit
guys could see what I'm doing
in this
man.
series, right? Now, I feel like his best game was probably the last game of the series. Because he struggled right now, today, in year two, a little bit in the series against some guys who's been through it now, and because he struggled, does that now mean that the potential isn't there? Because he struggled a bit in this moment? Or after year two and having that moment, does he now say, oh, okay, they did X, Y, and Z to me in this series that made me struggle. Now I know that. Now I can go get better and improve upon that
That's what
thing.
the summer for. Yeah.
And then what an organization has to decide is, do I believe that guy is going to do that work, right? I've been playing with him for 2 years now. I know he's one of the guys that will do that work. I actually got a text from him earlier today asking me, what do you think I need to improve upon this summer? Right? Like, that is the type of kid that he is. And young man, I'm not gonna call him a kid. He's a young man, but that's the type of young man he is. He works. And so his thing, like, what do I need to do? What do you see that I need to be better at, that I could do to improve up on myself next year, right? And so when I look at our young guys, they all show promise. They all grew from where they were last year. And so will every single one of them be back on this team next year? Just off short numbers and the way this business works? Probably not. That's with every team in the NBA. That's just what it is. But I do think all of our young guys from BP, Moses, JK, Trace, Guy Santos, Quinn Post, the list goes on and on. I think all of them showed that they improved, they showed promise, and in order to do that, they've shown work ethic. Where does it all shake out going into next year? Who knows, man? This business, you can never be so sure, right? Like, you're gonna have to evaluate Jonathan Kuminga, right? Like, we all know his talent, we all know what we all believe he could be, but now you have to make a huge financial commitment. Like, it won't be JK at whatever his number is now. Like, it's a huge financial, so that has to look different for everybody, right? That has to look different for JK. First and foremost, he's the athlete, right? Like, he's the one that got to do the work. He's the one that got to sign the contract. So it has to look different for him first and foremost, right? From an organizational standpoint. All of that stuff has to come together, and I love JK's answer in this press conference. He said, listen, we all got to sit down. We got to figure it out. It's going to take a while to figure it out. Free agency does take a while. It's going to take a while to figure this out. He said, but I appreciate Coach Kirk because he's helped me get here where I am at. And, man, that was such a responsible, great, well-thought answer. Because it's true.
Professional answer.
Because
That's
it
a
was
red
true.
no.
Like,
Come on.
has it always gone the way you want it to go? No.
That's not a
But
red.
that's probably with 99% of basketball players in the NBA. If you talk to a guy, most guys are going to tell you, I could do more of this. They don't let me. Like, that's just the nature of what we do, right? So we all have our trials and tribulations, our peaks and our valleys, right? His valley was more on Front Street for everybody. Yes, but we all have our peaks and our valleys. And the reality is what he said is correct. I love the way he handled it. One thing's for certain. I said this in my ex interview. Whether it's here or somewhere else, he going to get paid. And he going to have a very bright future. So I don't think he has anything to worry about. Everybody know what he's capable of. He will get paid here or he will get paid somewhere else. That's it, and that's all. And so I think the future for him is as bright as it's ever been.
Earlier this season, you talked about guaranteeing the championship. You guys, I believe, and I'm not making excuses. I think, with Steph, you had a good chance. So, you put yourself in an elite category. Earlier this season as well, Steph mentioned about the last ride, right? And then he recently mentioned that he wants the ride to last as long as possible, right? So now with Jimmy, right, now headed into the off season, are you back in this championship pedigree or championship guarantee pedigree? Because it wasn't Cat, right? No, that was speaking from what you guys felt. And earlier in the season, it was more so, we just want to have an opportunity. And then now it's different, right?
Yeah, I think it's definitely different. I think, our mindset going into next year will be that. Going into every year, I think every team say, we want to compete for a championship. And you know when that shit real and when it's not.
Yeah, for real.
And the reality is, for most people, it's very fake
It's
and not real at all.
dude. Yeah,
That's just
people
the
are not
reality of
really.
it. I personally believe wholeheartedly, and we all do, that we will be right there next year, giving ourselves a shot at it, just like we was giving ourselves a shot at it. We gave ourselves a shot at it this year. And I think we will retool and make the roster make even more sense and come back.
Just do
And
the
also,
pause
I think
on me.
another thing that I'm looking forward to is
They
we
do
get to
that
play a whole
all the
year.
time when they know they can't
So
win.
we come out, we can take care of business,
know,
and we ain't got to play catch up
they do
all
the
year.
pause
You know, like
effect.
we've been in the playoffs since February. Like every game mattering,
Yeah.
intensity level. Like we've been in the playoffs since February just to get
They
to the
do the
moment.
pause effect
And
every
so I
time.
think for us now, being able to go through a full season, and obviously you need to stay healthy and all of those things, like we can put ourselves in better position to be successful. And I think, you know, that'll be big for us. But the goals will be the goals, which is coming out, competing, trying to win a championship. That will be our goal 1,000%. I do believe we are capable of that. I stand on that 100%. So, you know, Jimmy, Steph, myself, we'll all be in the weeds, you know, trying to make it all make sense, you know, for what we believe we need, what it needs to look like. We'll be in the weeds. So,
Yeah,
right back at
love man. And if y'all want to include me, I'm up, you know, for assistant to the assistant GM. And if I were to put my GM hat on, just seeing what y'all need, I would say you just need dynamic athleticism and you need somebody with some game. Like you need somebody that's, you know, you need that wild card scorer, that threat, that whether he's 6'8" and get to the hole, just somebody who's just a scoring machine. To the basket, catch three, just somebody who just, hey man, if this dude get hot, we definitely win it. Right? And then I would say dynamic athleticism, right? 6'10" versatility, 7-foot shot blocker that can run to the rim and dunk. Just a few little pieces like that. Because when you think about now, the way the league is transitioning is getting back to the bigs, is getting back to the dominant power force, is getting back to second chance shots are the shots that are going to beat you. So long threes, you know, a lot of threes, long rebounds, but second chance points, rebounds, that's always going to be the deciding factor. And I just think for the Warriors, a little small, a little slow, right?
Y'all can see my
But
every
elite
reaction.
talent. And if you can mix some of that with, you know, some hyperactivity
You
and
just
some
know that
strong
I'm playing
athleticism,
FIFA.
and people that can get to the rim, y'all be unstoppable. You talked about getting in the weeds, right? You, Steph, and Jimmy getting in the weeds. You don't do that usually or ever outside of the KD. You got in the weeds, got KD. So when you say I'm getting in the weeds,
Yeah, you just got to be
you in
involved.
somebody's
You know?
ears.
Gotta be involved. You gotta have.
You
You
in
just gotta have the
somebody's ears.
conversations, man. You gotta, you know, because at the end of the day, when you're trying to compete for a championship, the front office may think they need to bring in a guy that you know, like, yo, I play against this guy. Like he ain't
Yo,
it. You
I
know
know
what I'm
you
saying?
guys
And
can
so that's
see
when I
every
say like you gotta
single
get in the weeds. Like
reaction I have right now.
there's just some because again, like I said, I think, you know, we filled out the roster at the top. And so with that being one of the toughest things, like now you need guys, you know, like, yo, man, when we play against this guy, I love when that team bring that guy on the court. And now we gonna go sign him like, nah, you don't want that guy, you know? And so when I say get in the weeds, like that's what I mean. Like you gotta give some input at times because what can be seen from the stands or what can be seen from some numbers, it ain't always what it seems when you're trying to compete for a championship.
And sometimes the dude that ain't, you know, that plays great against you, and you know, maybe the dude y'all looking for is sitting on somebody bench that's super talented and playing behind one of these one or two scorers. The league is full of scorers, and the league is full of versatile scorers. And I think the ability to bring someone into the game that can get their own money and get money for other people just by default, right, is going to be a game changer for you guys because you already have highly talented, skilled guys that can catch and shoot, penetrate and shoot. You know, y'all learning how to make plays for each other, but you need that one dude that's like, man, if he pump fake and get to the middle of the paint, he going to try and dunk or finish or do something different, right? You need kind of like a counter, so the attack is not the same diet every time, and that's where I'm thinking like someone 6'8", 6'9" that can really get out here and put some points on the board, and that's all
Who's
we
a
asking.
comp of somebody?
Yo, guys,
Because
we
to
gotta.
me, it sounded like you're explaining like a superstar. So who is a comp of someone you're speaking of?
Like if I were to comp like on the guard side, I say like someone like a Lou Will, like a Lou Williams, like somebody who can just is just dynamic at getting their own money, give him the ball, get out the way. If he cooks, we win every time because he know how to hoop. And then I say on the other side, like who is the next Pascal Siakam, or who is the
Y'all
next
can still watch
kind
this
of
live too after.
Pascal Siakam
but we'll
makes
see. They
$45
probably
million.
gonna
no, no, no.
copyright.
I'm saying that,
They gonna
there's a young
copyright the
dude
fuck out of
that
me.
plays like that on one of these teams, right? Some of these young dudes on Portland, right? Charlotte got a couple, well, young dudes that I'd say on the guard side, like Trey Mann, if y'all got him from Charlotte, that's somebody like that from the guard perspective. On the big guy side, even a Sims or Mitchell Robinson, somebody
Yeah.
that's just got some. The
Oh my
dude the
guys.
Lakers didn't want, the Charlotte kid, like
Mark
there's
Williams.
somebody big. Just you need a big athletic person